Okay, hello. So today I thought I would talk about long distance relationships because I mentioned it in a different video about how it was kind of a disaster for me. So, yes, long distance, no long distance, thoughts on that, let's go. Okay, so I personally, based on experience now, am against long distance for myself. I think that if you're someone who, let's talk about the 5 love languages, for example. So my top one, when I took it most recently, I would say they can change over time based on how you change and grow as a person. But me, currently, this version of Crystal, her love language number 1 is physical touch. Long distance does not bode well for someone like me. Just the fact that I could not hug my boyfriend, just kiss him, just be with him, cuddle, have that love, feel the love, just totally deteriorated the relationship on my end, because then when I would see him, as I mentioned previously, I felt like I was looking at someone I didn't know. Or you see the person, you're like, yes, you are my boyfriend, you know, I love you, but I kind of feel uncomfortable, like I don't know you. And like when he would touch me, like just give me a hug or whatever, it was like, my body was like, ugh, I don't know who this is. Like, and then it took me like, the first time that happened, we hadn't seen each other for 6 weeks. Not that long, just 6 weeks. We had been living together prior. And it took me about half a day to get over it. And then I was fine, super in love, just like before. Then the next time it took me like a day. Then the next day I was fine. And it just progressively got worse to like, from May, June, July. Like 5 months in, it took me about 2 days. But which might not, I don't know if that's, for me it just felt like an eternity, because it's horrible for the other person, especially when they see you and they can tell that you're just not there, or like they're full of love, and he would come to me just so lovingly and want to hug me and pick me up and spin me around, and I was like what is going on, like please don't do this. Horrible experience for him, not fun for me either. So I think if your love language is physical touch, please think twice about doing long distance, or try it and see what happens to you, because I do think it's always, if you think you're really in love with that person, I don't see why you wouldn't try it. I think it's important to have your own experience, because no matter how much someone tells you don't do this for XYZ reason, you're gonna do it. I think we all know that. We all know what our parents have told us growing up, and we did not listen, because we only learn from experiences. But I just want to share that if this is something that does happen to you, to know that you're not alone, to know this happened to me, and now I just know that long distance, not for me. Some people make it work amazingly, and I think that's incredible, and I would love to be one of those people. But currently as of who I am, this version, no. But I think that, you know, we put all the tools on our side to make it work. We would FaceTime, we would send each other, like we would always chat, messages, you know, I think I sent a letter once, or maybe, yeah, I think so. And just making sure we were there for each other when we needed to be. I'm just trying to have as much quality time as we could, but then it slowly got more tricky, because the thing is, when you're the person who leaves the country, like I'm the one who left to Spain and I was building a new life, then if you don't show up for that other person, they obviously will take it very personally, and like you're not trying hard enough. But it's also, when you move to a new country, you're trying to learn new experiences. The Spanish culture is very different to Switzerland, much more distinct and unique, and different to Swiss culture than I'd expected it to be. Even just the hours, like people in Switzerland eat dinner at like 7. Here they'll eat like 9, 9:30, sometimes even 10. So then him planning a call with me at 9 when he finished work was just not good for me anymore. But then before it wouldn't work. Just everything became difficult, and it starts seeming like you don't, then they start telling you that's like you don't care, you're not putting effort in, but that's not the case at all. It's just you're in a different culture, in a different world, and if you want to adapt to that world, well, you know, you want to follow their structure here, not keep with your Swiss structure or your whatever local structure. So I think it's definitely a hard job. Maybe if you're within the same country, it's easier. Like if I had moved within Switzerland to a different town, let's say 3 hours away. I don't think this is down further than that because it's really small. Or let's say to England, where cultures are hour-wise more similar, in terms of dinner, breakfast, lunch, that type of thing. But I think scheduling can become really tricky, and you have to be really dedicated. But I think it's important that if you start feeling like you're disconnecting, to just stop it as soon as possible, to not do the person more harm. I personally think I let the relationship go on for longer than it should have, based on how I was feeling when we would see each other. And to not ignore that first sense of when you see the person again, if you're not immediately feeling good, something's wrong. If it happened 4 times in a row, I think that should have been enough for me to realize that it wasn't going in the right direction anymore, and that it wasn't going to work. So I think breaking up was the best thing that we did for ourselves, for each other as well, because then otherwise we're just both hurting each other, and I think I was doing significant damage due to the fact that I was feeling so disconnected, and that didn't feel good for me either. So overall conclusion, you're probably going to try it anyway, so I hope it works for you, because I hope it works for you, because love is amazing, and if you're with someone amazing, I just hope for you that it works out. And if not, interesting, good learning experience. Take it with you as a learning, and don't beat yourself up about it. I was beating myself up about it for a bit, but then I realized that made no sense. That I learned a lot, and how I would do it next time, to make sure that both people suffer less. So yeah, I don't know if it's useful. I hope so. And if not, I hope you like listening to a random story of my life. Let me know actually in the comments if you've tried a long distance relationship, and if that went well or not, and if you have any tips on things that could make it more successful. I would love to hear them. Okay, bye bye.